Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wakil. This is Wakeelite Book Club. I am the moderator for today's spotlight. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's special live spotlight session hosted by Wakeelite Book Club. We are truly excited to have you join us this afternoon for a powerful and thought provoking conversation. Today's session is more than just a book discussion, it's an opportunity to step into a real life story that is raw, unfiltered, and deeply reflective. As your moderator today, I will be guiding this conversation to ensure it's not only engaging but also interactive. We encourage you all to participate, share your thoughts, and drop your question in the chat as we go along because your voice is an important part of today's experience. Now, it's my honor to introduce our featured guest, our new author for today's spotlight, Tim Murphy, Murph the Surf, right?
Murph the Surf.
Yes.
That's how I was known on the streets.
No problem. The author of One Man Crime Spree. This is not your typical memo. It is a gripping, first-hand account of a life shaped by the streets, marked by difficult choices, and defined by the consequences that followed. From the harsh realities of incarceration to the deeply personal moments that changed the course of his life, Tim Murphy brings us a story that challenges perspectives and invites us to reflect on themes of survival, accountability, and transformation. This afternoon, we will be diving into his journey, the inspiration behind the book, and the lessons that comes from a life lived on the edge. So, readers, sit back, stay engaged, and get ready for a conversation that promises to be as honest as it is unforgettable. Nice meeting you. Let's welcome Tim Murphy. Appreciate our new author today. Appreciate.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome
Thank
to
you so
the
much.
spotlight for today. Now, Tim Murphy, let's hear from you in 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes about you, your introduction, and your author's journey. How has this journey been? Is it inspired enough for readers to learn? And how can we learn from this journey? Kindly introduce yourself and give a short storyline.
Thank you. My name's Tim Murph the Surf Murphy. Um, Many years ago, over 40 years ago, I was one of the best jewel thieves and safe crackers in the United States. I was taught by one of the best safe crackers in the United States throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s how to punch, peel, burn, and drill safes. And then I was pretty good at electronics
Tim Murphy,
and
please kindly speak louder.
scanners and
Tim
alarm
Murphy,
systems.
hello. Please
Yes, yes.
kindly speak louder, please.
Okay. Um, yeah. So I met the best safe cracker in the United States throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, Jimmy J.R. Russell, who hailed out of Little Lackawanna, New York. I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania originally. I live up in the Buffalo area, which is where JR was from. But I met him at my grandmother's funeral when I was 18 years old. My grandmother was known as the $1 million baby in Erie, Pennsylvania, because her and my grandfather ran the city of Erie through Prohibition, modified his tugboat that he could go from Presque Isle in Erie, Pennsylvania, across the Long Point, Canada, and back in one evening, loaded with real top shelf Canadian whiskey, not bootleg whiskey. This was real top shelf Canadian liquor. And Grandma Murphy was the brains of the operation. She drove a gold Cadillac convertible to the day she died. She was known as the $1 million baby. Whenever she went into a bar in Erie, you better have a black velvet and coke sitting on that rail before she sat down, or the owner would hear about it. And she had power in that city till the day she died. She ran a card game for 20 years after Prohibition ended, right across the street from the Erie Police Department, second floor of the building across the street. My brother told me that he asked me, he goes, "Do you know what Grandpa and Grandma Murphy's payroll was every week?" He said, $300 or $400. And that really
Wow.
didn't phase me at first. But he said they had every opportunity to use her standing at her casket, and I heard a voice behind me say, "Oh, I love the old gal." And I turned around, and there was a man I'd known since I was probably 10 years old, a friend of the family, Jimmy J.R. Russell. And he said, "Kid, I don't recommend this for a lifetime, but if you're going to do this, you're going to do this right." He goes, "Until they got these, kid, my fingerprints." He said, "You're a virgin." He goes, "Until they got these, you belong to me. Monday morning, I need a driver. You come and show up at my place and drive my Cadillac for me." I ended up driving Jimmy J.R. Russell from coast to coast for 7 years. He used to say, "Wake me up in Pittsburgh, wake me up in Detroit, wake me up in Chicago." And I would. And the last thing that Jimmy J.R. Russell went to prison for was masterminding a $3.2 million armored car robbery, 1982, Royal Oak, Michigan, outside of Detroit. And they got away with the money, whoever they were. I didn't know those days, but it was a heck of a summer, and I was just along for the ride. I'm a three-time career criminal in two different states, Pennsylvania and New York. For the last 35 years, I've been completely legal. Since I went to college when I was in Attica, did 32 credits, got a perfect 4.0 average. I said, "Boy, if I could had the time, I could do this." So when I got out, I ended up getting a degree in robotics, and I've been a controls and electrical engineer at major corporations, Dunlop Tire, General Motors, Delphi Corporation, and most of all, I have been blessed beyond measure because Jesus Christ is real and saved my life. So, with that, I don't know if you want any more, but basically, the format of the book is all the partners and associates I've had in my life is each chapter, and basically the crimes I did with them. I'm very open because the majority of the people in the book are dead today. But our joke used to be I used to belong to an organization called the Secret Seven. It was so secret, I didn't know who the other six were, but they're coming. And they did every time. And we used to make more money accidentally than most people do on purpose. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's really impressive, and that's really great. This is so inspiring for readers to learn more. Thank you very much. My questions goes again to Murphy. My question says, since you've been publishing your books on Amazon, when have you been started to publish your books on Amazon, and how many books have you published so far?
um, the original rollout date was actually December 21st, 2025, which really had significance. It was actually a little later than we had planned, but that's actually the birth date of my late son, John. passed away in 2016, OD'd. He was really one of the reasons I had originally started writing the book, but when he passed away, I quit writing it. And then my wife passed away in 2023, and so many people came up to me and said, Murph, you got to finish the book. And so I just made it a point that I had to get this finished. I'm not sure if there
Thank,
is anything
thank
else
you
you.
very much. Thank you very much. Since you'll be publishing your books, are you publishing your books? I mean, publishing your books on your own, or you hired experts to handle the roles, the designing, the formatting, and the proofreading and the marketing aspect? Do you hire someone, or you do all this by yourself?
No, actually, I went to Ingram Spark publishers and worked with uh, Frank Zamora was my account manager, and I was very impressed with everything that they produced for me. Originally, I had a friend that had written about five previous books, and I called him up and I said, John, how did you get your book written? And he said, oh, it's real easy. You can do it up on Amazon now. I said, no, John, how did you get your book written? And so he made a phone call to me, and then Ingram Spark reached out to me. It is a self-publishing contract, but um, everything they did went above and beyond what my expectations were. They had actually produced a video that should be coming out on Amazon, which is pretty phenomenal. I don't know. I think I had sent it to you. I don't know if you can play it. It's only like 69 seconds, but did a phenomenal job of that. So they really took care of the cover design and the formatting and the barcodes. I paid for it, but they did an excellent job. And actually, so I had about 19 chapters written, but I had an outline for about 30 at the time. And originally, I had no deadline to get this book done. I just had decided on my birthday last October that I said, you know what, I'm going to give myself a present. I'm going to finish this book, and that's why I reached out to Ingram Spark. But after the second meeting with me and them looking over my manuscript, they made the call. They said, "Oh, we got to have this out by Christmas." So it was only like 2 months, and we had like 10 chapters to knock out. I had bullet points in the chapter titles because most of the titles are the people's names of the chapter and the things we did together. And but they set the goal of being out by December. And so at that point, I took it as a challenge, just like it was a score. We used to we used to set a goal, and then we used to accomplish it. Jr. used to say, once you watch something 3 times, you own it. And so I went after finishing this book, and uh, they actually took ended up. I had part of the contract was for some ghostwriting to finish up some of those chapters, and they ended up recording stories from me. I would dictate the whole story, and then they would knock it out, and then send it back the next day for me to edit it. And it's really incredible how everything came out. And then in the book, I have photos all throughout the book, which was from my prison photo collection. I had two photo albums in the joint, and so many of the pictures throughout the book are from my prison pictures. And now they've actually produced a website for me, Murphy's Secret Seven, because I used to belong to an organization so secret, didn't know who the other six were. But my son-in-law actually produced website, one man, crime spree, no spaces, and did a phenomenal job by he just read my manuscript and built this website, and that it's really phenomenal also. But the publisher website was part of the package, so I got two websites.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Did you have a website?
Yes, the onemacrimespree.com
Okay, you can
and
type
Murphy's.
the link to the website in the chat box so readers can get engaged with your books through your website.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I got to
I
pull up
have
my
a
chat
I
box
have a
here.
further question to ask. What
Oh, okay, yeah,
if Wakeelite Publishing stand as a supportive system to support your publishing journey? Maybe if you have more books to publish, or you want to undo some designing task, formatting, or proofreading, even marketing, would you like us
yeah,
to also support your publishing journey in that aspect?
yeah. Possibly. I appreciate you reaching out for this author spotlight because really, I was not planning on this right away, so I appreciate the opportunity. Um, but also, this um, the book is not my end game. I'm actually working on making a Netflix series
Did you have
because I
the
think if you
did you have the book in book video trailer? I mean AI cinematic video trailer. Did you have it?
yes, I do. Hang on, yeah, let me get that. It's on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Actually, I'll put my
You can
YouTube
you can
channel up
you
here
can
too.
also send your YouTube channel so we can make some
Yep,
overview.
yep,
Thank you very much for sending
yeah,
forward.
sure,
Thank you. So let's move on to the readers. Readers may
sure,
have some questions, maybe through the books, some that have read through the books or have one question or the other questions to ask. So let's see if some readers have a question. They've been
sure.
they've been feeling excited to meet Tim Murphy. So let's see, let your question come in. Let's see if there's any questions to answer.
Sure. Can ask anything. I'm an open book.
No problem.
I have not held anything back.
No problem. Please kindly send your question if there is any question. Tim Murphy is here to answer any question and always available. Okay, this is your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So let me see if I can pull that up and see if I can do that. Display that. Hey Pete, how can I
Oh, okay.
pardon? No? Okay.
Okay, now we have some questions coming in. Hello, Tim Murphy. Hello, Tim Murphy.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yes, I
All
understand.
right.
It was
Can you
the
hear
network
me?
was disconnected. No problem.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the
Sorry.
first question coming in,
So, was there a question?
it says, "This book is very raw and unfiltered. Were you ever afraid of telling too much truth?"
That's something I struggled with for a very long time, and the reason I did not finish this book was because my wife did not want me to finish the book
Oh, wow.
because she knew the majority of the people that were in this book. She knew five of the secret seven, and she did not want me to tell the story. But the majority of the people are passed away now, and after Laura passed, I was like, okay, there is one that I changed their last names because two of them were my partners and I loved the family. And to protect the family in my life, gorgeous girl partners with her brothers. I did a armored car robbery instead and went knocking at her door at midnight. She's still living with her mother. I said, Mary, I'm going to Vegas. Are you coming with me? And she stared at me in the eyes and never broke eye contact and yelled over her shoulder, Ma, I'll call you in the morning and tell you where I'm at. We ended up taking a baby Learjet from Akron, Ohio, out to Vegas, and things started from there. So that was really my only concern was that other family besides my own family.
That's great. Thanks for answering the question. Let's move on to the next question. Let's move on to the next question. It says, "What was the moment in your life that truly changed your path?"
Well, well,
I think the
so I was,
I think the question has to be
well,
specific. Maybe it was your author's journey.
no, so JR was in prison for the armored car robbery and he had a $500,000 bail and I was going to get him out tonight. Meant he needed $50,000 cash. I went and did a score with some before, which was a mistake, and ended up getting busted. And they brought me back to the prison in Erie, Pennsylvania. And the thing was, is JR was 2 cell blocks away, and I'm getting messages from the guards: "Do the right thing, kid. Keep your mouth shut." Now I'm thinking I might have an accident in this place. I steps or slips in the shower. That me. And make a long story short, they questioned me for 6 days. First the state police, then the FBI, then the federal organized crime task force came in, laid a piece of paper down in front of me, said, Mr. Murphy, they're in prison. We can walk out of here right now. They offered me the federal witness protection program. I declined it in some colorful terms to them. I went back to my jail cell and I was screaming at the guards, I don't want to be questioned anymore. And an hour later, they pull me out of my cell block again, pull me in another room with two different men, and I start going off on them. And the one man said, Tim, we are not from any police organization. We are friends of your sister Marge, and we just want to talk to you. My sister Marge was the first one born again in my family. Seven brothers and sisters, Irish Catholics. We thought she was crazy when she told us she was born again. We thought the Moonies had kidnapped her or something. But these guys just talked to me for 15 minutes, and the guard came in and said, "Time's up." And I grabbed my hand and said, Tim, I just want to pray with you before you go back in that cell. And he prayed with me, the sinner's prayer. And I said it sort of half heartedly to appease him and went back in my cell. And that night, I was laying in my bed. They double bunk you in Pennsylvania. I was in the top bunk on the side on the side ahead above my face on a picture of Jesus with a colored pencil. And I was staring him right in the eye. I said, God, if you are real, I said, I have got to know right now, or I will serve the devil the rest of my life because I knew what I was doing. And it was like a little voice went off in my head, said, you should pray about this. I said, no, I was raised a good Irish Catholic boy, haven't said a prayer since I was 12 years old, ain't going to start now. And it was like another little voice went off in my head, said, Satan don't want you to pray right now. Life at that point, I got up and I said a prayer, not long, maybe 30 seconds. I said, God, if you are real, I have got to know right now. I laid my head on that pillow, and for 6 days, I was under such stress. It was like there was a dagger in my heart. And when I laid my head down on the pillow, that dagger came out of my chest. Pain came flowing out of my body to the point I was hyperventilating. I was like, what's happening? Fell almost instantly asleep. Had to get up 6 a.m. for the guard. The guard's coming around counting. The guard stops and looks at me because you look different today. Bars open up. Guy comes walking in my cell. Says, "Wow, you look different today." I shake my head. Didn't think anything of it. I went down. That third man came walking up to me and said, "You look good today." Well, let me tell you, guys in there don't tell you look good, and you don't want them to. But from that point in my life, there was no denying that Jesus Christ is real. And that was the turning point in my life. And there are many other times where he intervened and saved my life. I had a hitman with a contract on my life flying from New York City, Erie, Pennsylvania, but for the grace I walk out of that back room. Oop, I'm not hearing any hearing me.
Yeah, I am able to hear you.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, very good.
Auto Morali, please
Okay.
kindly mute your mic. I think there is an ongoing communication with Murphy. So I think we can move on to the next question.
Yep.
Your answer was so engaging, and I really gained some points which really stand out. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says, um, what do you think people misunderstand most about life inside prison? Oh my God.
Say that again.
What do you think people misunderstand most about life inside prison?
Well, you know what? One thing is you will find someone from every walk of life in prison. Believe me, it isn't all just tough guys and scum. There's plenty of that there
Hmm.
too.
Different
But you
people
will
with
find
different
people from
coincidence.
every walk. Pardon?
I say different people with different coincidence.
Yep. All from it truly opens your mind, and really, quite frankly, going to prison saved my life because I can honestly say I'm grateful for prison today because when I went in, I do evangelize at churches not so often now, but I have in the past. And I used to say I have a Rolls Royce in my left arm and I have a mansion in my right arm because we used to inject cocaine and Dilaudid for thousands of dollars a night for years. And I was probably months from the grave when I got caught. And that's another thing I believe God had his plan.
Wow, wow, that's incredible. Life is a journey. So inside a prison, it's another journey.
That's a fact. And like I said, I never went to college till I went to prison. And there was a it was called the Consortium of the Niagara Frontiers. It was legit. It was Damon Canisius
Wow.
and Niagara University professors came in, same books, same curriculum. They did their students during the day. It was just volunteer on their part,
And there will
and I
also
got
there
32
will there
credits.
will also be so many experience in there.
Yeah,
No problem. Let's move on to the next question.
yeah.
It says, while writing One Mind Crime Spree, was there a chapter that was emotionally difficult for you to revisit?
Yeah, yes, there was. There's um, the chapter with Peter Russell was three Russell brothers. Uh, Jr. was my mentor, and we had like a father and son relationship. But Peter and I was the baby brother, and he and I were best friends. We lived together, went over the country. He actually uh, staged his own suicide and got away with it for over 10 years, so he didn't have to show up in court. I'll put a link there that you can Google on Peter's story. But Peter ended up being very good friends with my son John Michael Murphy on Facebook, and I didn't know it. And my son John ended up getting indebted to a big drug dealer that wanted him dead, and I knew nothing about it. And Peter drove up to Buffalo from Pittsburgh, and he had colon cancer at the time. And he drove up and he said, "We got to go see Johnny." I didn't even know he knew my son, but my son had confided in him, and Peter came up and straightened things out. And that was a tough chapter.
Wow, that's so impressive. There is no any accomplished goal. As an author, publishing a book, there will always be a challenging part of it. That's
That
that's the sincere part of it. So I think
that's true.
another question is coming in from Kailina. It says a lot of readers are curious. Do you believe people can truly change, or do parts of the past always stay with you?
There's no doubt I truly changed because there's another piece to the story, and the piece to the story is my I met my wife. She started visiting me when I was here in prison in New York, and she was visiting me for months before she told me that she had a little boy, and she said he's a special little boy. I said, well, they're all special. She goes, no, he's very special. He's 4 years old. He has cerebral palsy. He's in a wheelchair. And I said, well, where is he now? She goes, oh, he's at home watching TV. And she made it sound like she plunked him in front of the TV and came and visited me. I said, you get home and take care of him. She goes, don't worry. He's being taken very good care of with my niece. And I said, well, I want to meet him. And she said, well, how are we going to do that in here? And I was thinking, and I said, well, in 2 weeks from now, the European American Committee in the Joint, which were the Italian Dago boys that I was tied up with at the time, had controlled the prison yard to throw an Italian American Day picnic. and they were only going to allow Italians, Sicilians, and one smart Irish kid that made them so much money they couldn't afford to kill me. They wanted to, but they couldn't afford to kill the golden goose. And I said, "You bring him into that." And she brought him up to an Italian American Day prison picnic in Collins Correctional Facility, Helmuth, New York. And she rolled this little boy in, 4 years old, 32 pounds, cerebral palsy. And I said, "How are you guys making it?" And she said, "We're really not. I I continue to take care of that man to this day. He's 45 years old.
Wow.
I have a I have a beach house in Canada, 15 minutes across the Peace Bridge here in Buffalo. I made it handicap accessible for him. I built him a stretch limo golf cart that I can put his wheelchair right on the golf cart, and I still take care of him to this day.
No problem. But at the end, it's all worth it.
Say again?
I said, but at the end, it's all worth it.
It is, but to answer the question, there's always a piece of your past left in you.
Sure,
You
sure,
know, uh, I
sure.
can't lie, and believe me, it can Murph the Surf can snap out in a second.
Yes, yes. No problem. Thank you very much. Before moving forward, did you have a Goodreads profile? I mean, your author name on Goodreads.
I do believe I am in Goodreads. Yeah, Ingram Spark set me up with that
Okay.
also.
Maybe after the
Yeah.
spotlight, you can send. We can go through that. There is an opportunity that can contribute to some growth, so we can explain more better after the spotlight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Otto Morale, Timothy, please meet Otto Morale. He is also an author.
Hey,
He is also an author. So you can.
Hello. How you doing? I did
thank
see
you,
one of your
Tim.
I
It's
did
a
see
very
one of your
interesting
clips.
thing.
Yeah. I'd
What
seen
are
one of your clips earlier.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and nice meeting you. You are telling something very interesting, and I am with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody being here. This is really a first for me. So I really do appreciate the opportunity.
Also, thank
Um,
you, Timothy, for building the trust with us. Because if you can't build the trust, we won't have the opportunity to feature you on this spotlight today. Thank you very much. I think there is no other questions to ask from the readers, but we would like to hear from you if you have more advice to say or to give the readers, or your
oh yeah,
acknowledgments about the Wakeelite
yeah,
Book Club.
yeah. One thing I would like to do, if you get the book, skip over the dedication, the first 10 pages. When you start reading, it's really my lineage going back to my great great grandfather, who's one of the lone survivors of the charge of the Light Brigade, all the way through to my grandson. My only existing grandson was my past son's son. But I've actually had those 10 pages moved to the back of the book on subsequent printings because I was listening to a podcast with Chaz Palminteri and Michael Franzese, and they said if you don't get a hold of a reader in the first 15 pages, you lost them. So I moved those 10 pages to the back. So hop in with the foreword from Judge Robert Alexander, who is a judge of the village of Corfu, which is Darien Lake outside of Buffalo, but he was a prison guard in for 20 years. And he was in the prison the night I got the letter from my mother, said, "Timothy, my son, I wish I could be with you to put my arms around you right now because the love of your life, Mary Ellen DeSantis, overdosed and left this earth last night." and I flipped out, started pounding the walls to my cell. My cell was blood strewn.
Wow.
They pulled out the crunch crew, the cell extraction team. They're like Roman guards coming down, and they stopped in front of my cell, and I said, "You guys are going to kick my butt tonight." I
Wow.
said, "I only have one question: who's going to be the first person through that gate?" And I used a lot stronger words, and they all looked at each other and they backed off. And Judge Robert Alexander, in the foreword to this book, in the 20 years he was a prison guard in Attica, he only saw that crew back off one night. And
Wow.
but for the grace of God, it was nothing I did. Fortunately, there was a cool black lieutenant in charge of the prison that night. He came up in front of my bars and said, "Mr. Murphy, we've had calls about you from all over the country tonight." He goes, "There are people that are very concerned about you, that you're going to hurt you or others." He goes, "How about if we just take a walk to the infirmary?" He goes, "I'll give you a real tea." He goes, "I'll give you a real bed." He goes, "You can call down to the kitchen. We'll get you a steak if you want." He goes, "Quite frankly, I just don't want the paperwork on my shift, Mr. Murphy." I looked at him. I said, "You got that." And I walked down. Well, here they were putting me on a suicide watch for 72 hours. He made it sound good, but he did save my life because he was very cool about it.
Wow.
And but for the grace of
That,
God do I live.
that's really amazing. That's really amazing. I think we are running out of time, and we need to bring this spotlight into conclusion. Did you have any acknowledgement or feedback that you can give about the this book club for giving this kind of opportunity? And if we feature you more times or featuring you next month, will you be able to available and answer the call of the spotlight?
Yes, absolutely. It was, I was a little bit concerned, especially coming right down to crunch time. I'm like, I'll be very honest. I'm like, man, I didn't know if you were trying to scam me or not. I was like, wow. And a very suspicious mind. Sorry.
Wow.
That's something you don't leave go of either.
Wow.
But I'm very happy with the turnout, the format, and I really appreciate all you who showed up today.
Wow.
And I think One Man Crime Spree will hold your interest.
No problem. So
Eh,
that means we were able to build trust as from now on.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank
I
you.
Today
really
I
appreciate
heard
it.
you saying that your ancestor was part of the Light Brigade, charge of
Yeah,
the Light Brigade.
yes, yes,
Oh, I'm honored
my
to meet you.
yeah, my grandfather's grandfather. My grandfather told me when I was 6 years old. He said, "We Murphys, we're survivors. Always remember this: that your grandfather was one of the lone survivors of the charge of the Light Brigade. Six
I
hundred.
read that poem when I was young in my
Ye-
school, and I still remember to this day at least the name of the charge of the Light Brigade
uh,
and their heroic fight.
do you
You
know
are
about?
really lucky to have that ancestry. I'm sure you are a good man, and misfortunes come only to good men. And I'm happy you survived, and I'm sure you will survive and grow to greater heights.
Thank
If possible, look me up on the internet. My email will be available. Just send out an email to me. I would like to be in touch with you
Very
because
good. Love to.
your
Yeah.
your family is part of the charge of the Light Brigade, brave soldiers.
Yes.
Really, I'm amazed that I could meet you today. Thanks to WAC.
Do you know
Really,
there?
it is an honor for me to meet you.
Thank you. Do you know there were lines in that poem that I had quoted for a lifetime, never knew where they came from. Theirs was not to reason why, theirs was but to do or die. And
Yes,
I
this I
li-
remember very well.
and
That's
I
a great
live
line. Ours
I
is not
live by
a
those
question
lines.
why.
I lived by those lines and never knew where they came from till I went to college in Attica, and I had a English literature course, and we had to read that. And when I was reading that poem and found those lines, it, it floored me because I had lived and died. Theirs is not to reason why, theirs is but to do or die.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
I to
much.
live by those lines.
Thank you
Yeah.
I to
very much.
follow
Thank
those
you very
lines. They were my role model.
Mr. Morali,
Yes, sir.
I understand we can't end this conversation today. You've been enjoying the
Okay,
conversation,
okay.
Mr. Murphy.
He will take contact me. No problem.
No
Thank you,
problem.
Wack, for inviting me.
Thank you.
I'm going to send you Mr. Morali's WhatsApp number so you can drop him a message and you can connect more better.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
No problem.
Thank
Thanks,
you
No
Wack,
all.
problem.
and thanks,
Thank
Thank you
you.
Kenny.
very much. So
Thank
my
you.
my conclusion as a moderator of this spotlight today, as we come to the end of this spotlight session, I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for being part of this powerful conversation. Auto Morality, Murphy, and our audience. A very special thank you to our featured author, Tim Murphy, for sharing such an honest and unfiltered account of his journey. Your story has given us not only insight into the world many never see, but also a deeper understanding of the weight of choices, the reality of consequences, and the complexity of the personal transformation. To our audience, our readers, thank you for your engagement, your questions, and your presence. Conversations like these are what makes community like Wakeelite Book Club truly meaningful. If today's discussion resonates with you, we encourage you to continue the conversation. Grab a copy of One Man Crime Spree, reflect on its message, and share your thoughts with others. Let this not just be the end of a session, but the beginning of a deeper reflection and dialogue. Once again, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Stay connected, stay inspired, and we look forward to seeing you at our next Spotlight event. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Tim Murphy, have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you so much.
Mr. Morales,
Thank you so
have a
much,
wonderful
everyone.
day. Bye.